It's the Wait a Minute Show.
Bruh, ain't that right, Lopan? Wait a minute. Book it. Really? Really?
The Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, and this is the Wait a Minute Show. I am your host, and I don't do this thing alone, and someone else is here with me. Once again, Lopan is in the building. So, Lopan is in the building, and...
Indeed!
Lopan, I've told him not to cut me off. Lopan, you're late, all right? I saw you out there, and you were lollygagging. Never mind. So, Lopan is here. He's made his presence felt, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed!
Yes. So, here we are to talk about sports, right? And we're going to get right into it because NBA playoffs is going on. We got some NFL news that affect my Detroit Lions. Hurts to talk about it. We'll talk about some possible trades, and the NCAA has decided to input a new rule or update to a rule that they have. So I'm excited to talk about that. But before we do anything, let's get into what everyone's kind of been talking about all week. And that is the refs, right? And how the game is being officiated in the NBA playoffs. So we saw what happened in the Kings Warriors with Draymond. He got suspended for game 3. We seen just recently, a couple days ago, with the Philadelphia 76ers in that game that was going on with the Brooklyn Nets on James Harden being thrown out. Joel Embiid possibly, potentially could have been thrown out and everything. So this has been going on for about a week now. And we just need to really just, get into it and what it's all about. And here's my thing, on it. And I get both sides, of it. I get both sides, what everybody is saying on it. And is there some truth to some of the stuff that they're talking about? Yes. So Doc Rivers, was talking about his fear of how the game is being officiated. And basically what I took from it is what he was getting at is that these guys that's instigating what's happening to them is not experiencing the same severe penalties as the guys that are reacting. Totally get that. Now, at the end of the day, in the Draymond situation, everybody know, hey, Draymond is a guy from Michigan and everything. And I always root for the people, from Michigan and everything. But this is what it is that you stepped on a guy's chest. Whether he held your ankle or not, I get that. Totally get that, right? But it doesn't say because he held your ankle, then you can stomp on a guy's chest or step on a guy's chest. And I know Draymond saying he's not flexible and all this stuff, but it happened. Okay, it happened. Now, Sabonis, yeah, he shouldn't have been grabbing his ankle and you're down there and you're doing stuff like that. Then is what's gonna what needs to happen. But for the refs to throw Draymond out. I could see that happening. Joe Dumars, he suspends Draymond for game 3 against the Kings, and he cites previous activities and everything. And Doc Rivers spoke about that as far as I guess he felt it wasn't fair or it wasn't necessarily fair to take what stuff have happened with Draymond in the past and everything. But that's how a lot of things are designed, or a lot of things are decided. Doc, I mean. There's guys that's in the league that's floppers, right? So, and what Doc was getting at is just saying whatever Draymond did previously shouldn't be held against him because it's a new season, it's a new, situation, right? So if there's guys that flop, should they be given a clean slate when the season starts or when the playoffs start, and you ignore that this person may flop or not? No, you're going to go out there and you're going to point out, hey, this guy has a history of flopping, or this guy has a history of holding on, or just hooking or something like that. So it got to be the same way. If you got a history of something, then it's going to at times play against you. Now, I'm not for any of this stuff, and I wish Draymond could have played, Game 3. But it is what it is. In the Brooklyn Nets game and the Philadelphia 76ers, I think the biggest thing really was the inconsistency, right? To me, what it felt like was the inconsistency that Joel Embiid can kick Nick Claxton, and it seems as because it didn't connect in a certain region or something like that, then he got the flagrant one. But then James Harden clears out, he uses his arm, and do I think James was just like, I'm gonna punch him right in it? No. But James Harden gets thrown out. Like, that's crazy. If anything, both should have been flagrant one or both should have been thrown out. You have to have that consistency there. Right? So those are two different games, different officials, that's going on. But we're talking about the refs and as far as like how the game is being officiated. So at this point, maybe what they need to do is just like, look, none of that instigating, none of that, all that. If you're gonna do that, we're gonna check that real early and often in a game. So you might be in the back watching the game. That's where it needs to be then. Because if you're trying to eliminate it, you're trying to, get control of it, that's where you need to be. So guys can know from Jump Street. Jump Street is that, hey, if I do this, there's a really good chance that I'm gonna get, thrown out. And guys react. I totally get that, but you still can get kicked out, on it. So hopefully the refs doesn't impact the game anymore from what, or the officiating doesn't have the talk of the town or the talk of the lay right now, like it's been in the NBA first rounds.
Embiid!
Right, Lopan. So what was the other thing we got going on? We had some games yesterday. We had the Atlanta Hawks here, ATL, the Hawks taking on the Boston Celtics. They won 130-122. Trae Young dropped 32 points in that game. And look, this is what I'm going to tell everybody. Being here in Atlanta, being able to see this team, more often than a lot, having had season tickets, previously to watching not necessarily this team, but just watching, a Hawks team. What we saw last night is what the Hawks can give you. They've never been a team where you're just like they lack talent or anything like that. The only thing that the Hawks have been missing on this is consistency. And this is how their season has been all year. They finished at 500. Win a game, lose a game. Win a game, lose a game. Win 2 games, lose 2 games. Back and forth like that, like a seesaw. So what we got was the potential of what I think what is to come, for the Atlanta Hawks. I still think, and I know ATL fans are going to be mad, on me this. I do wish and root for the Hawks to win, but previously I said the Celtics was going to get back to the NBA Finals because of the depth of their team, and I think that's what's going to move them through these rounds. So I like what the Hawks did. They gave us what they can do. They still, add some other pieces, but that consistency. It was a great win, for them. They were able to match the intensity. They had an excellent second quarter where they put up 41 points, and that helped out in that win. So kudos to the Atlanta Hawks, but consistency. Now, if Atlanta can stay consistent like that on the road and at home, yeah, Boston could be sitting at home, watching the second round of the playoffs. But we need that consistency, from the Hawks. Other game that went on was New York and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So New York won that 99-79. To me, I felt both of it. Obviously, Cleveland was a low-scoring game. I still felt this was a low-scoring game for the Knicks, scoring 99 points, right? So some of this was what the Knicks were doing, and some of this was, a self-inflicted wound by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Both shot bad from three, where you had 33 shots put up by both teams. Cleveland made 7. New York made 10 of those three-point shots. So in the field, inside the three-point line is where, they made their mark. Turnovers. New York benefited from the turnovers as far as like steals and everything. So yes, New York played, very well in this. This is a 4-5 matchup, which I'm not surprised by this. Cleveland can win in New York. New York can win in Cleveland, as they proved, game 1. So this is a matchup, 6-7 games. I think really 7 games that I see this thing going through with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson, look, let me tell you something about Jalen Brunson, right? He is every bit the amount of money that the New York Knicks paid. And actually, he should be probably paid more for what he's done to this team and what he's been able to give to this team. And he's showing it, right now. I love Jalen Brunson's game. I like Jalen Brunson's game when he was in Dallas.
Embiid.
Right, Lopan. He was balling there. So New York Knicks, be happy, Knicks fan. Be happy. I'm gonna get to y'all a little bit later. I haven't forgot about y'all. But Cleveland, they got some ballers there. Donovan Mitchell, Garland, Allen, and Mobley. Look, this matchup is going to go back and forth. So if one team wins, there's no reason to get all excited and everything because it could easily turn around. They lose the next game. Again, 6-7 games. I got this thing going in there. In the Wait a Minute Show chat, I see Jay Fish. Shout out to Fish. That's on there. Speaking of Fish, hey, I know y'all haven't seen us on Wrap It Up. We'll be back. We're coming back soon. Had to take a little bit of break, but we'll be back. So don't miss out seeing me and your man JB Bodie and Fish and Mo and all that stuff. So we'll be back on Sundays on that. But Knicks, Cavs, Knicks fans, I'll get to y'all in a second. I'll get back to y'all. I will get back to y'all in a moment. Now, what else we got going on? I'm looking at my notes because I was like, is this really, is this coming up? Do I really have to talk about this? And I do. My Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start it off with that, but my Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions made the news for the wrong reasons recently, and it is due to gambling, right? So you have 4, and actually it was 5 NFL players, but 4 of them were on the Lions. And the main one that everyone was paying attention to was Jamison Williams, but you had Quintez Cephas, you had CJ Moore, and Lopan, Lopan, pull it up so I can, yes, thank you for pulling this up for me. I forgot the other guy, Stanley Berryhill, for the Detroit Lions that received suspension. Someone was indefinite and some was 6 games. So obviously the biggest name that was on here was Jamison Williams because he was a former first-round pick last year. And big things that were going to be expected from Jamison because he was hurt. He got hurt at Alabama, I think in the national championship, or not national championship game, but in the playoffs. And then he carried over, still got drafted in the first round with the Lions and moved on to play later on that season to give us a little sample size of what was going to come this season. And the Lions obviously are getting these expectations put on them because of how they finished the season. But now this guy, Jamison Williams, that's going to be out for 6 games. How's that going to impact the Lions? Well, before I talk about the Lions, let's talk about the situation at hand with Jamison Williams and the rest of these guys. Now, Jamison Williams and CJ Moore received 6-game ban. The other 2 got indefinite bans, both for kind of different variations of what the suspension was revolving around. We've seen this here in the ATL with Calvin Ridley, right? Calvin Ridley got an indefinite ban. He got back in after a year. He's with the Jacksonville Jaguars, right now. That was an example. And my thought process, look, I don't try to tell someone how to live their life. I will make a suggestion, but it is still your life to lead. And my suggestion is look, because right now, it seems like the league can just say, you know what? This right here, you violated. So we're going to go ahead and suspend you. Just stay away from it. Just stay away from it. That's the safest route. May not be what you want to do. May not be fair. But to eliminate the possibilities, stay away from the guy. I know Jameis was not betting on NFL games. He was betting on college games. Get that. He was betting in the facility, where he was at. I get that. His agent spoke about that and talked about that. I get that. But they used all of it against you is what I'm getting at. So it's like, just leave it alone. If you just leave it alone. Because it's costing you 6 games. 6 games, right? In the chat, said Vernon said Lions are the Lions are the Lions. Can't keep good players, right? Well, they're not leaving Vernon, Chief Rocca. They just, I feel like, and it's so funny because I put this on social media and I tagged Ryan Stewart, who used to play for the Lions, and I just said I feel like we are just, the Evans family on all the episodes of Good Times. It's just like when stuff get good, stuff always happens to just bring us back, and I feel like Florida, just dang, you know the rest, right? You know the rest, Lopan, you know the rest. So that's how I feel. But now, how this is going to impact the Lions, it's going to impact them. But here's the thing. They played without William Jameson for majority of the year. I think at least 11 games, 11 or 12 games, I think that they played without him. They got a guy that I've talked about in St. Brown. Free St. Brown. That's going to be fine. All right? He will be fine in that offense. And Jared Goff and then the rest of the, the additions that they've made to this team, do they want Jameson there? Of course. Can they hold the fort down till he gets back? Of course. So there's no alarm to just say, oh my gosh, we are just in trouble. But it would have been better to start the season off with him there, But that's all I'm saying. Just leave the don't hit the button. Because they getting everybody. They even got staff members for the Lions. That's all I'm saying. Lopan, you saw that, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, they getting staff members. And you got to go. You got to go. You got to go. So they're not playing around with it. So stay away. Stay away from it. Stay away from it if you're anybody, right? We got some games that's going to be coming up today. Actually, I think we got 4 games, if I remember correctly, Lopan.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we got 4 games that's going to be coming up in the NBA for the playoffs. And kind of not where I thought they would be, but I'm going to tell you who's going to win. I'm going to give you my predictions for who wins today. In round 1 of the NBA playoffs. So the first one that we got is Brooklyn versus Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia's up 3-0 in this series. And I'm just going to say this, and Brooklyn fans not going to like this. You got swept before with KD. Chances are you're going to get swept again without KD. He hasn't been there anyway, but you're going to get swept again. And the reason it's not, Philadelphia is the better team. But here's my thing. I just think this last game 3, I think Brooklyn had them right where they needed them to try and get back into this game, right? Obviously, history is not on their side being down 3-0. They got guys that we are finding out that can play and always could play, but because of other players that's been around, their game has been asked or been forced to be sacrificed. Mikal Bridges, he's a baller. He balled in college. So, I mean, he's a baller. Dinwiddie be doing his thing. This dude, Cam Johnson, he's coming out and making a name for himself. But I just think in game 3, where they had Philadelphia right where they needed them, or where they had to have them, where Embiid was hurt, and I think Embiid is out this game, but Embiid was hurt. He was in foul trouble. He only had like 14 points in the game. He was having a bad game. James Harden's kicked out, and you still could not close the deal on it. I think that was their best shot, of extending this series. And they just couldn't do it because this kid, Maxey, let me just tell you, Maxey, he's going to be a problem. And we were expecting a lot from Maxey this year anyway, and he's been delivering for them. But he's going to be able to, take more of the lead. He's going to be able to take more of the on his shoulders in this game against Brooklyn, and I think they get the win and they go ahead and close this thing out because obviously they see some of these other teams that's not in the position that they are, and they could get Joel Embiid to rest. So they missed this game. They playing with house money anyway, so even if they do lose, it's 3-1. They still could wrap it up in 5. But I think from the last game, it's a wrap. Maxey gonna go off. I'm gonna say it right now. Maxey get 40. Maxi's gonna get 40 tonight. Who else we got? We got Phoenix versus the LA Clippers. Phoenix is up 2-1 in this series, and this is kind of hard to call, but with Kawhi being out again, Paul George is not there. It's left on Russ and guys like Norman Powell and Zubac, to pick up where Kawhi and Paul George are not able to due to injuries. I think that just in itself is going to be a problem again. Not having Kawhi there, not having that defensive presence where you saw how he forced himself to be a problem for KD in previous games. So not having that there, that's going to be a problem. And on the offensive side, the dude's been balling. You're missing that. You just don't replace that. So I think Book, KD, and all of them, they're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to win this game. So I'm not even going to waste your time on that. Milwaukee versus Miami. Now, that one is a really interesting one, right? Giannis was hurt, but Miami took game one. So anything is possible with these two. I haven't put my finger on it yet just to say, who's going to. I want to lean towards Milwaukee. They're the number one seed, but I could see Miami winning this. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Miami in this game because both of them are, Tyler Hero is out, so it's not like everybody is playing, in this game. But I could see Miami winning this game, and then Milwaukee goes on the stretch or a run to close out the series. But for this game, I want to say Miami wins this, and they go up 2-1. They're going to be at home. The fans are going, right? Because it's 1-1. Yeah, so this is game 3, so they're going to be at home. And fans are going to show, if the game starts at 7, Miami fans are going to show up at 7:32, right? So right around the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, Miami fans are going to be in the building, and then, they'll traject themselves into a win, right? Last game we got LA Lakers versus the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Laker fans, right? I like this matchup. I'm glad this matchup is where it is. So we had an excellent game from the LA Lakers in the first game. Second game wasn't that great. Teams have figured each other out or felt each other out. I'll say that. So I'll be short and sweet, on this. Is that Lakers could take this to 6 games, but as far as like right now, I say Memphis wins this game, right? They're going to go on the road, and something crazy is going to happen in LA, and Memphis is going to, win this game. So those are my picks on it. So some comments in here. Mr. Ricks, Vernon said, I can't see Miami winning another game. But see, they won. Who would have expected them to win the first game? And they did. And they've played, Milwaukee pretty well, on it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Fish says Brooks done messed up, right? So that comes from a Lakers fan. He's going. It could have been Zebo. It could have, Zach Randolph. Oh, Zach Randolph done messed up. Talking from the sidelines about the Lakers. So he's a delirious. So, but I do think Memphis will win this game 3. So those are my picks. We're almost done here, but 49er fans, right? 49er fans. This is interesting. We were talking about this on Wrap It Up Sports. Sundays at 10 a.m. Shameless plug. But we were talking about a trade, right? Would the 49ers trade Trey Lance, right? And I have been on this thing about, no, they're not going to trade him. Well, news has come out. The teams are actually, calling about Trey Lance. And obviously this is because of Brock Purdy and what he's done in the second half of the season, right? Deservedly so. I'm still sticking to my guns on this, is that you can call all you want. Call me now, as Miss Cleo would say. Call me later. Call me tomorrow. Call me whenever you want. Unless you're just like 3 first-round picks or something like that, so we can get some of those draft picks back that we gave away. Maybe that's kind of, I'm like, okay, now I'm listening. But I don't think that those are the offers for Trey Lance. So right now, Trey Lance was your guy until he got hurt. You shipped out Jimmy Garoppolo or told Jimmy Garoppolo to take a seat so Trey could play. And now Brock, deservedly so, he has, he's balled out and done his thing. What's the incentive to trade either one of these players? I know they're not going to trade Brock, but what's the incentive to trade Trey Lance at this point? If you still feel you got what you think you have, there's no rush. You can pick up his 5th-year option if you need to. He's not going to be a ton of money that is going to cost. So it's just like, unless you are sending me something of something that changes the entire landscape of the NFL, I'm going to keep Trey Lance. And you can keep calling me all you want.
Indeed.
Right. Smart, Lopan. Smart. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I hear all these things for, Kirk Cousins, and then send now Minnesota might. I could see why Minnesota would do that, because I do feel that there are some Minnesota fans that are ready to move on, from Kirk Cousins, and again, Kirk Cousins with a defense and the team that's surrounding him, is still not saying Kirk Cousins has to put the entire franchise, on his back. But you're still going to be looking for a quarterback sooner than later. So that's why I'm just like, unless Minnesota's really add something else, to it. Because you can't even, you can't add like Dalvin Cook. They're talking about trading Dalvin Cook or cutting him at this point. But you can't, throw Dalvin Cook into the mix because you got CMC, right? Or could they? No. So I'm keeping Trey right now until I see something really just blockbuster or whatever, right? Blockbuster. Speaking of blockbuster, let me tell you what's blockbuster in the NCAA, in the football ranks, right? I'm so happy about this. Very happy, right? Why am I happy? There's a rule change. There's a rule change in the NCAA that I'm so ecstatic that they decide to change. And that is the first down rule. The first down rule. So if you don't know or you forgot, I'll tell you right now. In college football, different from, the pros, is that if you throw or run or whatever, catch a pass, for a first down, they stop the clock to reset the change, right? So every time you get a first down, they stop the clock. Well, the NCAA decided to change that and say they're going to keep the clock running. Whether you get a first down or 1 time, 3 times, 9 times, it's going to keep running. Thank you, dear baby Jesus. Right, Lopan?
Indeed.
Yes. I have been waiting on this. Let me get one. Let me start with the first one, right? I don't want my Saturday to start at 12 p.m. and then I'm finishing up the first game at 4:15. We've been sitting around for an hour and some change just watching people move the chain. That counterproductive, right? We could have watched another game. You could have, pushed up another game. Yes. Let's speed this up. The other thing is, I think it is just unfair to use the first down as a timeout, especially in the second half, in the fourth quarter where it matters most. We've seen time and time again a team driving down. They may not have any timeouts, right? They're trying to drive down the field. Well, if we get a first down, the clock is going to stop. Instead of that clock just ticking, and you're running against the clock, and we get that type of drama. That's what I want to see. You're running against the clock. Can you beat the clock? But we get a first down. Whoo! We done got ourselves an extra 5, maybe to 7 seconds to figure out what we're going to do. No, I don't want to see that, right? So we're cutting down. People have worked half their shift. They're getting ready to go to lunch just from one college game. I don't want that. All right? So I'm glad that they changed that. Keep that clock running. Goodness. What if I'm trying? Never mind. I ain't even going to mention that. That's stuff Lopan does.
Indeed.
Yeah, he be trying to get out of games early to go see. Sorry. So I'm glad that the NCAA has decided to change that, man. I'm so excited. So here we are, right? I told you I needed to come back to something. And one thing I'm going to come back to is the Big L Award, right? So I'm going to give out the L Award to someone today. Let's figure out who it is.
And you are one pathetic loser.
Let's go.
We're gonna see the best collection of losers this park's seen for many a year.
You made me feel like a loser!
La loser.
Le who? The her.
Yes. The Big L Award, the Big Loser Award, right? Sometimes we do loserous things. I have given myself this at least 3 times that I know of, right? Oh, I thought you were about to say something, Lopan. But I have given myself this before, so that's why this thing is unbiased, right? And because it's unbiased, here's who I'm giving out the Big L Award to. New York Knicks fans, son. New York Knicks fans, son. And here's why. Because I just talked about Knicks could take this, it could go 6-7 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I talked about Jalen Brunson and how he has been great for New York. I have talked about the NBA playoffs are always better when the New York Knicks are in it. I have said that from time beginning until time ends. I will continue to say that. I believe that the playoffs are better when the New York Knicks are in it. But this is the stuff that I'm talking about that tasked me with saying stuff like that. Is that the New York Knicks, everybody else don't know, but the New York Knicks have won the NBA Finals, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to let you know. Because after Game 3, they win one game at Madison Square Garden during the playoffs, 99-79, where to me it really wasn't that great of a game for both teams. But they win one game, and you got fans out there in the streets climbing street poles. Why are you climbing street poles from winning a game in the first round? You have to win 16 games. You've won 2. You still got 14 more games to go. Let's focus on getting out of the first round, New York. I know the Knicks are, but I'm talking about the fans. The fans are acting like, this is what we do, son. This is what... No, this is not what you do, right? So, climbing poles as if the NBA Finals had already played and they done won and they've been crowned champions. I'm just saying, you have to do better, New York. So that's why you got to take this Big L.
See? Another loser.
Indeed!
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another Big L in the books. Stay off them street poles, New York. First, you don't work in that industry, so stay off of them. And then 2, you haven't won the NBA Finals. Now, we win the Finals, go right ahead. Go right ahead, but still be careful, because that's dangerous. But we're talking about Game 3 in round 1. New York fans, you gotta love them. You gotta love them. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, man. That is another episode for your boy Jelani JB Bodie of the Wait a Minute Show. We're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, man. We'll hit y'all up with another episode next week. Maybe the Knicks will be in round 2. I don't even want to imagine what they'll do if they make it to the second round. So I'll holler at y'all later, man. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, and following the channel on YouTube. And if you got any comments, man, hit your boy up at thewaitaminuteshow@gmail.com. So I'm gonna holler at y'all, me and Lopan. We're gonna get out of here. Everybody enjoy whatever it is that you got going on. I'll holler at you later. 2 things as always: stay positive and push forward. Lopan, let's go.